So if Russia does hit the nuclear button, where are they likely to target? Would they initially be on the battlefield within Ukraine, so to speak, or would there be a first strike?
Yeah. I think we have to say, Dermot, we are a long way from this, but
presumably in the Pentagon, throughout the capitals,
people worry about it.
NATO, but the planning is going on, is it?
Lenin famously said, nothing happens for decades, then decades happen in days. That's where we are now. So things are happening very quickly, but we're still a long way from this. Now, the Russians have a nuclear policy which integrates nuclear weapons right down to the lowest levels of their forces. We don't in the West. We keep our nuclear weapons quite separate to our forces. But the Russians use them on the battlefield, or they train to at least. So that if there were a nuclear use, it is overwhelmingly likely, if it were to happen, that it would be on the battlefield somewhere. It's plausible, if we're in this crazy world, that it might be on the battlefields of Ukraine, or it might be over the border in Poland or Romania, which would be an Article 5 triggering of NATO, and then we're into really serious.
But I mean, just this on the battlefield. I mean, it's a glib phrase, but there isn't actually a battlefield in Ukraine. We're not seeing massed armies of tanks fighting each other. It's a very complex war.
It is
fought in fields and bushes and forests.
That's right. I mean, and Russian nuclear weapons were designed as battlefield weapons for Russian armies that were moving forward in a more conventional way in Western Europe, and also to deter Western forces from using our slightly bigger and more developed nuclear forces, there's a big gap between our conventional and our nuclear. In Russia, there's no gap. If Russia were to use its strategic nuclear forces, its rockets and its submarine-launched weapons, then you're talking about wholesale nuclear war. And again, we are a long way from that.
Well, where are they likely to target? But, the question then encapsulates, would they be likely to strike a major city from one of their now adversaries in NATO, one of the capitals?
Well, that would be a trigger for the closest the world has ever come to a straight nuclear war.